Hi there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Beneath the Lifter. My name's Charles McGilvray, and as always, I'm joined by Jess Kebble and Simon Stacey. We're a fans podcast, four fans of Northampton Saints. How are you both doing?
Good,
Good,
thanks.
thank you.
Good, good. It was an interesting little fixture at the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah,
It's been a few years since I know we had the final the week before, etc. But it's been a few years since the end of the Premiership has been sort of really nothing to play for the club. You know, like
Yeah,
even with semi-finals, we've had a quite a good run in the Prem for a number of years now, haven't we?
yeah, it is weird actually. Sort of
Yeah.
thinking that it's sort of over, but knowing that there's still other things to be played. But well, that's just the way it went, really, isn't it? We sort of knew. I think we knew sort of even as we were getting further in Europe that the Prem was really a kind of lost cause at that point. So it's not too much of a surprise, I suppose. But yeah,
No.
hopefully we can build up for next year because it would be nice not to be eighth.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's nice to see some of these players play, actually, isn't it? When like
Mhm.
watch Premiership games where the other team it really matters to them, but we've got it's a bit of a free hit for Saints to see how some of these players go. So it's interesting. Like you want to. It's also you always want to see how these players actually play out as well because you have them and you think they might be a pretty good player, but you never really validate that because they don't get given the opportunity. Whereas now we've had was it the Exeter away game and the Gloucester away game when a number of players have sort of been given that opportunity to validate their sort of training or whatever they're on them by playing proper games against teams that are coming to win because it matters to they've got league
Yeah.
positions and stuff to play for. So yeah, that was interesting.
it was good to
So
see.
what did we think of the game?
It was one of them, wasn't it? Because it was like it was again nothing. We literally had nothing to lose. They just went out there. It was good to see some of the young lads make their debuts, and yeah, I didn't think they did too bad. To be fair, they were in it most of the game. It's just that Gloucester were full on, weren't they? They had a full strength side, and there wasn't. Was it 10 points in it at the end? Yeah, I think it was 10, wasn't it? But yeah,
It
it's
was, but then they scored, didn't they, right at the end? So it was 41-26,
41,
something at the
26.
end, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was 36-26.
yeah,
And I thought, oh, this will probably reflect pretty much how the game has gone, to be fair, because I think we were on them quite close. But then we just kind of ran out of steam, didn't we, really, at the end? And they got one. Was it Christian Wade got another one or whatever right at the
yeah.
end?
He got
Yeah,
Because
farewell.
obviously.
He got
Yeah,
farewell,
exactly.
didn't he?
And then I think Ackerman, who I think is leaving, he took the
Yeah,
kick and missed the kick. So yeah, 41-26 at the end. But which probably I would have said the 10 point gap is probably more reflective of like the game itself. It's just yeah, one kind of got away from us at the end there. But yeah, considering they put out a full strength, if the reality was is that Gloucester were probably never going to make it through, just because they had to have like someone of three other teams I think had to lose, and it just wasn't likely that all three of them were going to lose. But you still don't know that, do you? You don't know
they
that going in.
then
So
I think they needed Bears to if Bears had lost.
they definitely needed Bears to lose. Yeah.
yeah,
I think if Bears had lost, they'd have finished fourth.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they only needed Sale
That's
or
just one. Yeah.
Bears, one of them to lose,
Mm.
and they could have nipped in.
Yeah. So they
Elsewhere.
had a couple of things that had to go their way, which was just didn't seem like you said having to have like and Sale or Bristol lose. I was like, I felt pretty confident both were going to win anyway. Um, but yeah, so they didn't really. They probably knew that somewhere deep down, but you don't. Anything can happen on the day, right? So they went, yeah, full strength as you totally expect, getting the 5 points and giving themselves the best chance. But Bristol managed to hang on. So yeah, two very very different sides that went out, and yeah, it was a really close thing. I think even Skivington, the head coach, was very complimentary about how we performed that day. A bit similar to the Exeter one, really, where we stuck in it sort of until, like we said, I think before, like sort of 60-65 minutes in, and we just kind of ran out of a little bit of steam.
Yeah,
And that's just kind of what happened. But yeah.
I think it was much better than the Exeter performance. To be honest with you,
Mm.
I think having Hutch at 10 made a real big difference. I think
Hmm.
his sort of ability to distribute, to really run the game, just brought everything a bit together. I don't think I think the score is reflective of reality because I think I think there were fundamental issues within the team, and it's not to criticise anyone. It's a reflection of, I mean, Lumley played really well and carried the ball really well, etc. He's got A levels, I think, this week. So, it's a huge step up for such a young lad. But I think the connection perhaps in that 13-14 channel down that one edge, it just it wasn't there because it's you wouldn't expect it to be sort of thrown together in a week's notice. Not a lot of experience together. Like defensively, we were a bit short. And then second half, I think we could have actually, when we had the ball, we looked pretty good. And I think if we could have built some more pressure, we probably could have won that game. I mean, I think the number of line-outs that didn't function towards that last 10 minutes really, really cost us, I think.
Yeah. I wonder what the average age was. I'm not going to go and look through them all, but it was a lot of, like you said, someone doing A levels is insane, wasn't it? I'm a bit gutted now we've let Garside go because that boy's looking towards the end of the season. He has looked very, very good. I know we always known he was a good player, but he's a scrum half, but he doesn't do bad in the backs, does he? And Worcester have got a player there, I reckon.
Yeah, I've just seen today announced that his brother's trying to sign for Worcester as well.
Oh, is he really?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're interested in them playing together. I mean, with the ball, he's pretty electric, isn't he? Like his ability to move and step and make yards is very impressive. I'll tell you who really impressed me now, talking to scrum halves, Johnny Wyman.
Yeah, man, he's good.
Yeah,
he's looking top player, isn't in the making. I think between him and Archie McParland, we must have two of the best young prospects at 9 in the league.
Oh, easily. But he scored a great try as well, didn't he? He did a bit of a Mitchell where he sort of like did a little shimmy and then ducked under. But no, it's great to see, really. It was one of them, innit? It's one of those games where there's nothing to lose, but a lot of those boys, some of them probably fighting for a contract because not all of them have been announced. And your big old mate, Big Ed Prowse, was captain. He had a good game as well, didn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, he looked really good for carrying, but then, I mean, I think that the captain's bad and it's cursed. I generally do. The only man who seemed in the last few years who seems to have held the captain's armband and gone well with it is Dingwall. I mean, look at Furbank, the luck he's had since he's been an named captain. You look at, I think Munger had it, got injured. Angus Scott Young had it in the PRC and struggled to get into the strike. We haven't seen a lot of him since, sort of thing. Like that captain's armband seems a bit of a task too far for a few people, I think, or a bit of a cursed chalice, I think.
Yeah, and it was obviously a bad looking injury as well, because obviously it had the high contact, hadn't they, that they were looking at, and they very specifically stopped it before it got there. And then obviously the only shot you saw was like one quick shot where he'd got oxygen on, and you were like, oh, okay, so they're not showing it for a particular reason. And I think they'd even said, I think I might be wrong, but I'm sure the TMO at one point said we're only going to show up to a certain point. Like we can't roll the whole thing all the way through because it's not something we can put on the screen. So yeah, that obviously wasn't good.
He looked pretty distressed, didn't he? And it looked like he might have fallen badly over his forearm or wrist or whatever.
Arms, yeah. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's just been, that's what the whole season has been like, isn't it? You think we've actually competed really well on certain fronts, considering the mad disruption that we've pretty much had from word go, right? Like literally from minute one, just people being injured left, right, and centre. I mean, I even reckon if like that team that we sent to Gloucester was actually probably the only people we really actually had. Like it probably almost came down to that, bar maybe a couple here or there. I don't know how much change there would have been considering injuries and trying to make sure that people aren't exacerbating problems and things. Yeah. So
if you take out those who played in the final, your lines and players and your real senior players, that was literally what was left, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I think
that was all that was really available. So ended up as a huge list for ages. It just felt like every single week a new person was being added and nobody was coming back. And I was like, when are we going to start seeing some people come back? And then, like you said, we talked about George, who came back and then hurt the arm more, then came back and lasted 4 minutes. You just think, Jesus, this whole season's just been. Yeah, I actually think and again, I know that the players probably don't necessarily feel it, and probably they may never feel it, but considering sort of everything that's been against us, it really is crazy to have gotten to the final of Europe. Like, it's still such a phenomenal achievement.
Just shows you the talent within that core.
Yeah.
The 4 Lions and a few other players. Just the talent within them. Like we had Alex Coles on, them we last week, and what a player he really is. And we haven't seen a lot of him this year, but when we've had Mitch and Finn and Dingers and Pollock on the pitch, it's like anything's possible, isn't it? Like they're just class players.
But even Colsey had said to us, hadn't he? He said realistically his injury was probably a 2-week injury, but he didn't have 2 weeks. And there isn't anyone else floating around that we can kind of call up instead. So he played through it and honestly played as if nothing was wrong with himself, to be honest. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's good, I guess, like you said, because you want to see some of these people play. And I think there were some really good performances, like individual performances against Gloucester, even if it didn't always kind of gel as a team. And yeah, definitely interesting for next year and forward. Like you said, you mentioned Johnny Wyman. Like you think, you then question how long you can hold on to some of these people, because you've got to think, no one's budging Mitchell out of his spot. And I can't really see anyone budging Tom James out of the replacement spot. And so you think, what's going to happen in the future and how often are we going to see these guys and how long might we be able to keep them is always in the kind of back of your mind. Because there's obviously been a few, like people like Garside, who we already know that we're losing, but he's made some really, really good performances towards kind of the back end of the season in particular. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Not even necessarily next year per se, because some of those guys are still, like you said, doing their A levels 18, 19 years old, so they're not necessarily rushing to get out of the kind of system of Saints necessarily. But you've got to think in a few years, like who we might be seeing or who we might be losing, because we really do. Sometimes it kind of shoots you in the foot having so much talent, because eventually they'll get noticed and they will end up going somewhere else.
Yeah, it's funny that, because you look at the talent we bring through, and it's sort of like if they make the grade, they are given the opportunity to develop and play. And we've brought through a lot of home. We must have the highest number of homegrown academy products in our squad than any team in the league. Something like 50% of the squad is out of the academy, and that's because if they're good enough, they're generally given an opportunity. And we've brought through, Pollock and Dingwall and Hendy and Slightome, etc. Like the list is endless. But they're given that 2-year period of being in that senior academy to really give a chance. And you look at a large number of the leavers, and they're all a lot of them are players who thought they're going to be. They were knocking around England under 20s, England under 18s, and we thought they're going to be proper standout players, but haven't given that. Maybe that's because they've not played enough rugby or whatever it may be. But it's not. We haven't had many players where we've gone, other than to France, where we've actually lost a player and gone, oh, I wish we'd been able to, keep hold of him or them. Moon, for example, is a huge example of a player I'm pretty sure we would want to keep, but the temptation of France was too much. There aren't many other players. There's not many players going to other Premiership clubs because we can't keep hold of them.
No.
Yeah, so other than Hafar, who I think would be a big loss.
Yeah.
Particularly really the way he's been playing in some of those performances, and obviously it's like a extra sucky because of where he's going. But hey ho, still wish him the best, obviously. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting how some of them push on, because like we've talked about before, haven't we? Like the Lions fixtures and the England summer fixtures plus the Six Nations fixtures are all going to count into how many matches players can play. And so I think there'll definitely be some opportunities, because the way we've played this year and the way we've played this past season and last season, I can't see any of those boys sort of necessarily falling out of England contention per se, or they'll still probably go to the camps at like a minimum, be in the squad. And so you've just got to think of, there are some really good opportunities for some of these guys, like definitely in the next season, because you still got to figure that, your Smith, your Mitchell, your Ferbs, hopefully when he's fit, Dingwall, Coles, maybe Langdon, all of those kind of names are going to be featuring quite a lot for other, teams that are not us potentially over the season. So yeah, next year in particular, I think will be really interesting, just because, like I said, it is a Lions fixture, and so it's not necessarily not that all the 4 going are going to play a huge amount of tests specifically, but any number is still a number that comes out of what they can play, so it'll be interesting.
And it's not just a test match. They'll definitely play on tour. So they'll
Midweek.
definitely,
Yeah,
Midweek.
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
You're on
they'll
about
definitely get 3 or
Hafar.
4.
You're on about Hafar there, but he probably made that decision. What, January? He wasn't playing then, was he? So like,
Yeah, very possibly. Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah,
problem. He's
100%.
come on. He's playing amazing for us now, but he's already like, I've already decided to go. So, but yeah, there's loads of it. You got to remember, we didn't mention it because he told us that Colsey, that he didn't train all week, did he? I don't know if was that on the pod or was that afterwards. I think he said it. Was it afterwards?
Yeah, no, he said it on the pod. Don't worry. Yeah.
Oh, he
did say
did.
it on, yeah. Don't worry, you
that
haven't
is
dobbed him in.
insane. Like man of the match performance, and he didn't train all bloody week. That's just mad.
Yeah.
But you got to be proud of the boys. We bring through so much talent, and unfortunately, it doesn't all progress. And we've seen it before. I'm just trying to think of one, like Chris Wiles. Chris Wiles wasn't one, was he? He didn't really do much at ours. Went to Sarries, ended up being a cult hero there.
Yeah.
So it does happen. Sometimes your face don't fit, and it just don't work with the coaches, and they move on and do well. But yeah, as long as we keep doing it, it's the cheapest way to get a good squad. And like certain clubs that can keep signing world-class players and nobody notices. We won't mention who though.
Yeah, well, back to the game. I mean, the players who stood out. I thought Litchfield was outstanding.
Oh my god, yeah, that boy's so underrated.
Best player on the day.
So underrated. Just give him the ball and let him run. He's a bit like Forrest Gump, isn't he? He just runs. He just keeps running. He's insane. He's so strong. He doesn't look very big, but he's so strong.
Well, I'm going to disagree now. I think he's put on quite a bit of size. I think he looks in real peak condition.
Oh yeah, but normal clothes and that, he doesn't look massive. That's what I'm saying. Like, and you see him, he's just a man mountain. Yeah, he's a great for the future.
Yeah, well, I think he's just adds so much quality and depth, isn't it? When you're losing Odendal, it's like, well, is that the ready-made replacement, homegrown big lad? And he's got a bit of an outside break on him compared to Odendal, but he's a big physical unit. And if he can if he can embrace that and get him over the game line like he did against Gloucester, then I mean, he made, I don't want to shoot him down or anything. He made one really bad defensive read. But otherwise, he was pretty much outstanding. And the more he plays, the better he'll get. And especially because he's played so much on the wing as well.
Yeah, you got to remember he's also not playing with people he's used to. Like, he hasn't got a Dingwall or a Hutchinson next to him, has he, in the centre?
Yeah.
So he's like, he had the young lad with him, so he's probably thinking he had to cover more ground than he usually does. But yeah, I was proud of the boys. I thought we'd absolutely get an absolute kicking, if I'm honest, because they needed to get 5 points. And
I didn't think it was going to be good.
To be within, what was it in the end, 12, 14 points, whatever it was fair play to them, because no one was giving them a hope.
Yeah, like I said, I think we could have, there were points in that game where you don't know, maybe, if Gloucester were pushed, they might have upped the game. But if we had won some of those lineouts in this last 15 minutes and built some pressure, I think we could have put a bit of scoreboard pressure on them. And who knows what happens then? Because, unfortunately, the line out just, when Walker went off, it just didn't function. No. And that, because it must have, if you think, it must have been, I'm going to say about 5 lineouts that didn't function. And it's like they're all in attacking positions, and that's one of our best attacking platforms. And you just get one of them good starts, and you score a try, and then you never know what, because then it's pressure, isn't it? And they might fold, and it might give our players, because we look good with the ball. It was just we struggled when they put a bit of pace and width on the ball. We struggled to contain them.
Especially as I should imagine as well that. Especially as I should imagine that Gloucester probably weren't kept abreast of other results, right? Because I think they always say it's like the worst thing you can do, like, because you've got to go out, you've got to win. And so they're obviously in the frame of mind of this is a 5-pointer that we've absolutely got to get. So you can't help but think that when it was 26-36, if we'd gotten it up to, I'm trying to do quick maths in my head, 33, we've gotten like 36-33 with sort of 10 minutes left to go, there's a genuine chance you come away the winners there. Which was crazy thinking, because I genuinely didn't think, the same as Simon, like, not that I thought it was going to be like what we did to Gloucester last season. But I was thinking like I can't really see how we get that close. And so I was really, pleasantly surprised. And that's not to have said, that's not me to put like a downer on the team and sort of suggest that they're not good enough necessarily. But I think nobody massively expected.
Well, the Premiership Rugby said Gloucester by 22. So
by 22. Yeah.
Which in reality isn't that far off when you look at the actual score. But
no, definitely.
Right at the end.
Yeah, I just think,
I sort of felt it was probably going to be more than that. But to think like with sort of 15 minutes to go, to think like there's a chance we could turn this around. Like really didn't think we were going to be in that position, and so I do think it's a huge positive. And yeah, it's a weird makeup of team when you think about it, because you've got a couple of like, I hate to use like the letters of like A team, B team, C team, but that's kind of the easiest way to do it. You've probably got there like a small sprinkling of A teams, mainly B, and even a couple of C probably in a couple of places where you've had to dig deep because you don't really have anyone else. Like some, like 18-year-olds making debuts, because it's like, who else is there? Nobody. Like for them to be able to put that together, I think was really impressive as a performance overall.
I think it just shows you the depth within the squad, because I think ultimately the forward pack was able to match Gloucester pretty well and play. Like, I thought Pearson stood out. I thought Far looked pretty good. I thought Brown looks continually consistent. And then when you add in the fact that Wyman had an absolute stormer, Hutchinson's a class act who really made the difference at 10. Litchfield was getting us over the game line. Like, you're sort of slowly building all the constituent parts of a proper team. And I think we had a bit of inexperience in the wider channels from a defensive point of view. But if you've got the ball, that doesn't really actually have that much of an impact. So unlike, say against Leinster, when actually not having possession was probably beneficial, the longer we were able to keep possession against Gloucester and keep the ball from their attack, the better it went. And I thought we did a really cracking job for long parts of it. We just needed those footholds from the line outs, and we could have probably converted a lot more. But yeah, that's not to, you got a player who's barely played for the first team to step in, and like Alex Cole said on his interview with us, that the line out is incredibly complicated, like mechanism. Like, there's a lot of moving parts. So for someone who's you probably look at them and think they're sort of 4th, 5th choice hooker this season for the club. Step in and try and make it work with probably a week's worth of getting in sync with everyone. It is very, very difficult. And so, it's not his fault at all. So that's not the point. It's just like, it's just a reality of that's the team that we put out, and they weren't far off. No. They really weren't far off of.
It felt like bits and... it did feel like really small margins, which is, like I said, not what I was necessarily expecting. I thought that that there were quite a few areas where it's like, I honestly didn't expect that we'd be able to compete as well as we did. So, it's always obviously you never want to go out on a loss. Like, it's not like anyone's going to turn around and go, oh, it's still fine that we lost, because, it never actually is. But yeah, I still think they kind of ended on a note that's positive as we move forward, considering, we've really got to compete in the Prem in particular. Like, I'm not saying that we don't focus on Europe as well, because obviously you want to, because you want to try and at least match what you did this season. But yeah, that kind of 8th in the Prem feels like it doesn't really reflect where we were in the second part of the season in particular. So yeah, just trying to push on from that. And we've had a couple of seasons in a row really where we've not started as strong as we'd wanted to, particularly really definitely this season, where it pretty much took us until Christmas to get going. And at that point, you're 3 months into the season and you're already struggling in the table, and you realize, you think, oh, it's okay because you've got until May to pull it back, but you realize it's not as many fixtures as you think when you put Europe in and take out the fact that you don't play for 6 weeks during the Six Nations. The more you look at it, you go, oh, actually we're already more than halfway through the season and we're already struggling. So it's just, I think that's the key thing for the team, is that I'm not necessarily saying that they've got to win every single match in the first 3 months that they play, but we've got to get a better start than we did.
Every fixture is fundamentally important in the Premier. Like, we finished with 2 less wins than the team that finished 4th.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
So, like, if we beat Leicester and Gloucester, which were games we really, really underperformed in, but either way, like, if we beat them Gloucester away, or if we had something to play for, like the last against Exeter and Gloucester sort of thing, you never know. Like, we could have well been in the hunt. But I think next season we'll see a bit more of a divide in terms of the squad, because of the number of internationals that are going to be away. I think you're going to see a consistent team in the Premiership, and then you're going to see, when it comes to the Champions Cup and big home fixtures, you'll see the Lions played, etc., because they've got to manage everyone. But what the game against Gloucester showed was the depth is there. Like you can rely on the likes of
100%.
Munger and Prowse and Green and you know, etc., etc. Brown, they'll come in and they'll do great jobs for us. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, what's your view on the semi-finals? It's worth having a little cover that off before we finish.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'd probably
Honestly,
go.
no idea.
I'd go Bath Sale. That's what I'd like to see in the final.
Statistically, the teams that finish at home are more likely to go through, aren't they?
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to say them up the road. Not a chance. I
Yeah.
think if they've got
I
like
think-
the All Black side playing for them.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
only
I
thing
think-
about them up the road is I really like Michael Checker. I think
Well, you
it's
would
great,
because you're Australian.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
it's
would.
great.
Yeah.
It's good to see greatness, isn't it? And like, if he were to pull it off with Leicester in one season, win the Prem, I mean, he's pretty much done everything. He's pretty much completed
Yeah.
the world in terms of winning every title you can win. I mean, I know he didn't win the World Cup, but he took Australia to the final. He's got the Champions Cup. He's got a Super Rugby title. He's got Rugby Championship. You know, he's done it and up with Argentina. He turned them into a great side. Like if he was to, you know, he won couple of European Cups, or maybe one with Leinster, whatever. But if he was to top it off and win the Premiership, man's done a lot, and it would be great to see him. But obviously, it's them up the road, so.
You can't.
Yeah.
win
It's one of those where it's like I'm never going to pull for them to win because I just can't. But I also like if they were to do it, I wouldn't begrudge them doing it, considering some of the kind of club. I'm not saying legends from our perspective, but from their perspective, some of those people they've got retiring and moving on. It feels like they're very much in the same position as sort of we were last year, that they've got a lot to push for. You know, thinking Dan Cole's just announced, as you quite recently, Ben Youngs, there's a few others who are moving on or retiring. Like I really wouldn't put it past them to use that like we did last year to push them to the title, to be honest with you. Because I in the first half of the season I'd have told you that Bath were a sure thing. I'm not 100% sure about that anymore. I wouldn't say that they finished their season the way that they started it. I'm not saying that they wouldn't win. I just think that it's a bit more of a level playing field than we perhaps first thought, because they ran away with it for ages, and then people have been they were still out of touch in the end, but people were steadily sort of clawing it back. I don't think their second half of the season performances have been as strong as their first, so it's kind of interesting as to where it might. And I don't include the Saracens one in that because I know they didn't send a full strength. They didn't send a full strength squad to that, and even not sending a full strength squad, they got fairly close. So. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the two home sides will go through. I think it will be Bath and Leicester, but
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Sale will do them. And I Bath qualified about 2 months ago, didn't they? So they've literally just been playing the second string for 4 or 5 matches. So which could come.
But they
back
haven't done it for all, because they did the same thing that we did though. They put full strength side out to prepare themselves for Europe. So they've played a lot. And obviously they won Europe, so I'm not saying that they wouldn't win the Prem. I just wouldn't sit here and say it's as a runaway thing as perhaps we might have initially thought it was if you'd asked me a few months ago. A few months ago, I'd have literally said, well, it's going to be Bath and no one's going to touch them. But the way Leicester have come back, some of the performances that they put in, I think it will be competitive. I'm not going to say that Bath aren't going to win, and I wouldn't mind if they did. But I think a Bath anyone final I think could be quite competitive.
Yeah, I mean Bristol have had a knack of beating Bath actually. Pat Lam seems to have made that a priority to win that derby, and they've done it relatively probably more often than not. I mean Bath should in all ways win. That like they have got the biggest and best squad, and they've have more resources than anyone else. So they should probably win. I would say though, you know, the West Country team, the two West Country teams, Bath and Bristol, they are doing it, and there's nothing wrong with the way they do it, right? Don't get me wrong, but they're doing it in a very different way to say the way Saints do it, in the sense of it is pretty much unlimited budgets within the salary cap, obviously, but unlimited budgets. They've both got money to throw at things, and they've signed most of their players in. You know, they've assembled a squad of signings. Whereas when you look at Sale and Leicester, they have developed quite a lot, and a lot of their key players, the core players within their squad, are academy players, and I probably respect that more, and therefore, I mean, I think realistically, out of the four, I want Sale to win it. Um,
Oh
but
yeah,
I probably respect the Tigers team a bit more than the other two in it because you look at Van Fleet, Stewart, Youngs, they've got that they've got Coles, they've got the locks, etc. The two homegrown English academy Tigers, etc. I
Yeah.
just think that I'd rather that be the winning model rather than the Bath model of let's sign world
That's fine.
class talent and win the league.
like the Man City, basically buy it. Yeah, that's what you
But
say.
yeah,
In a
exactly.
way,
In a
yeah.
way, yeah. But like I said, I'm not. There's no right or wrong way. You've got a
No, no.
salary cap. You can spend it how you want to spend it, right? But I just prefer the way of the Curry's boys coming through the Sale Academy, dreaming of success, playing for winning the
Yeah.
league Sale, and I just prefer the sort of romance of them doing that rather than I don't want to put a name to someone, but someone at Bath who's basically gone there for a bit of a nice payday and to win things.
Yeah.
It's just a different way of doing it. I just prefer
Yeah.
that
That's
it's
a
more
fair
akin
point.
to the way we've done things, and I think that model should be the way all clubs follow. Um, Like I think Pat Lam going to Bristol, I'm like, oh, we want to get all these Bristolians in the Bears team. I don't think he's done that remotely. I think he's failed on that task really,
Yeah.
and and
I
it's
think Bristol are interesting because they have turned Bath over, I think, more often than Bath turned them over in their recent history. But you just feel like, and you look at any of their results, even where they've won big, the other team have always managed to score a lot of points. I just feel like at that kind of level, at semi-final level, or even let's say they do the, what no one's expecting and maybe turning Bath over at home, like it just feels like that's what's going to get them found out in the biggest matches is their complete lack of defensive ability. Because let's be real, it doesn't really exist. And if they go in on a game, and they definitely have done it, they go in on games and their attack isn't quite as fluid, they'll probably lose. Like that's kind of the thing with them. Like they talked about how they'd scored X amount of tries and they'd let in X, and it was the same number. Like they're letting in
yeah,
as many as you're
Yeah,
scoring, and
I think they've broke the record, haven't they? Have they done 16 out of the 18 games or whatever it is that have scored try bonus points?
yeah, but possibly. I mean,
Yeah,
and the thing is that even in games where they've lost, they've probably still managed to get
yeah, they
the
have.
try bonus point. To be fair, like their attack is, to be honest, absolutely lovely to watch. But yeah, I feel like that's what might get them found out really, because like I think you've got some of those teams in there, all of those really. I'd say Bath, Leicester, and Sale, like all of them are really good at shutting you down. They each do it in very distinct, different ways. But if they can't find a way to get through, you can be sure that the other team will get through them. And I think that's kind of what their issue is really. And I feel like I love that they're in the semis. By the way, I do really like that they've managed to get in there because some of the stuff that they do is genuinely magic to watch. But yeah, I kind of question if they have the ability. But we say that, and then you think about when Harlequins won back a few years ago, they won it completely on that because their defense was atrocious. They just managed to score more points. Sometimes they were coming back. I think they did it twice, didn't they? They did it in the semi and the final. They came back from like 20+ point deficits.
well, yeah, it was called Bristol, wasn't it? When
It was it was
they
wild.
got absolute turnaround of Bristol, yeah. But that's the thing
Yeah,
is
it
though,
was
like,
crazy.
rugby is such a momentum game, and it's similar to the
Yeah,
Gloucester game at the weekend, whereby simply having possession and attacking play can just turn things. So if Bristol get onto like a roll and they just have enough possession, down in the Bath half for say, the pressure starts coming onto Bath, doesn't it? Because like, oh, we should be winning this. But if Bears go bang bang, couple of tries and keep a bit of momentum and then just keep hold of the ball and Bath start forcing things because they think, oh right,
yeah,
we should be winning this. We've got to win this. This is a semi-final. Um, the mind can play tricks, and how many times have Bath been in tough those tough
yeah.
positions this year? When we won the league, last year, how many times did we win from behind or tight games? it's like that,
Yeah.
muscle memory in the mind of like we can do this, that inner belief. I don't think that's been the case with Bath. They've blown a lot of teams away, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they can't do that, there could be an upset. So I'm going to say Sale Bristol final, obviously.
They could be competitive. They definitely should be competitive semi-finals, or at least hopefully. I mean, I wonder if they'll fall in. I wonder if, like, for Bath, because obviously they've already won 2 trophies, haven't they, with the PRC and the Challenge Cup. You just wonder if that might maybe is what actually trips them up, that they've already got their mind on, we're going to do the triple. Yeah. And that's a terrible trap to fall. I mean, look at Leinster. Leinster were absolutely convinced they would already got their way to the final before we'd even stepped onto the pitch, and it was their complete undoing. Like,
yeah,
that's not to negate. No. But you kind of think that, like, they shouldn't put. And I'm not even saying that they will. They probably won't if they're coached very well, obviously, by Van Graan. But they shouldn't really put too much stock in sort of those wins necessarily. Because I mean, if you look back to the Challenge Cup, for example, the final, let's be real, Leon just didn't exist. It wasn't even necessarily, and it's not to negate Bath's win, but it was very much a Leon lost. They just couldn't. They just did not turn up on the day, and that certainly is not. That's not going to be the case, is it, for the semi-finals and even the final if they get there? Like, you're going to be up against very stiff competition. So yeah, it should be an exciting. As much as I'd wished that Saints were there, obviously, always, like last year and then Europe this year has basically destroyed me. So I think I'm just happy to be watching as a neutral fan, to be honest with you, to actually just be able to sit and enjoy watching the matches instead of crying and sweating and swearing and hating every single second of it. Like, just being able to enjoy it this year.
That's the joys of being a Saints fan, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been doing it for nearly 40 years, so I know. Wait tickets.
The fans of all 4 sides that are about to take part in that, they're all about to experience the loveliness of that. But we've experienced quite a lot of that over the past 2 seasons with the Prem win, getting to Europe. That, I don't know, there's a little part of me that's like, this is going to be a nice chill end to the season.
It's an interesting point because, like, of the 4, obviously Bath, Sale, and Bristol haven't won anything of any note for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Sale won the Premiership. It must be 14 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bristol won the champion. Was it called the John Plague Cup in like the 80s or something? Probably the last thing they won. Bath haven't won anything big time since that sort of period of time. They won the European Cup a long time when it's sort of almost in its early infancy sort of thing. Whereas Tigers have been perennial champions for the last couple of decades, really. So it is an interesting one. Like, they go into it.
Yeah.
They go into it, with a lot more. I don't know how many titles Tom Young's has got under his belt, but it's enough. Whereas you look at the rest of them, and there probably isn't a lot of success in there.
You mean Ben? Yeah. Sorry, not picking your
Ben. Sorry, Ben. Yeah. Ben.
It does feel. It feels like out of probably all the 4 of them, like Leicester have probably got the best narrative behind them. I think it matches kind of our narrative of last year.
Please don't end the podcast on the loving for them. Please, it's the same.
I don't mean any way in terms of loving. I just mean, if you think about the narratives each of those teams have got to win, theirs really does match ours last year, right? And some of those players even said, like, giving the send off to those players is really what pushed us on. Like, and because that performance against Bath, let's be real, they've even said it themselves, was pretty atrocious. But they, that pushed them over the line. And so I wonder if, again, it's not a loving because I don't like them whatsoever, but I wonder if that narrative of there's some big, Tigers legends to send off. It's a big motivator,
I do agree, but then they're retiring, whereas there's only one of ours that retired. The other 3 went to big different clubs, whereas you can't imagine a Dan Coles and a Ben Youngs doing 80 minutes, can you? Never know.
No, but they've also got
they might come off the bench and win it for them.
Yeah, they've not just got retirees though. They're not losing Montoya as well, who's been a staple in their team. But there's some people leaving, I think, who are have been pretty big for them. Yeah, well, Pollard. I'll be honest, I don't know if Tigers fans will think the same. I think that's just the biggest waste of money. I don't think he's. Some people say, well, they're in the semi-final, so he's been useful. It's like, has he? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure they got what they wanted out of him necessarily in terms of time and. But you also sometimes you sign someone big just to do something for you for a season or two. So I suppose it kind of matches there. But
He
yeah,
kicks a drop
I
goal
think
to
it's
win in
shaping.
the final.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
They've
Yeah.
spent 600k a year for 30-second period, and it's well worth it.
Yeah. But I think I think just generally speaking, like all of them have got a narrative, right? Like you said, Bristol never won anything before. That's a huge narrative. Bath, runners up last year, going one step further. That's a massive narrative. Sale have also got a huge chunk of people leaving. A lot of first teamers leaving. Potentially one of the biggest numbers in terms of when you weigh it up versus academy players. They've got some huge people leaving. So they've all got, to be fair to all of them, they've all got a really good story behind them that plays out really nicely if they lift the trophy.
Basically, what I want to happen is I want Checker to leave clubs, go to Sale, and win in the league. That'd be ideal. So if Checker could win, but not Leicester, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, but I think it'd do rugby good. I think it'd do rugby good if Sale win it, because it's not popular up north, is it really? They're not like we're. So if Sale win it, I think it will give people, oh, hang on, what's this rugby about? So yeah, I'm hoping for a Bath Sale final and a Sale to win it. Only because, like Charles said, Sale do it similar to Saints in a way, whereas they don't, not say buy it, but like they have bought everybody in. Like, so
yeah. They haven't bought the league. They've just assembled their squad in a different way in terms of they've not really developed their own. They've assembled it. That's why a Sale Leicester final, which was the last time Sale actually won the league. That was the final.
I can't have them in the final.
I wouldn't begrudge that if Sale win. I also I think I just want Sale to win it. I think I just can't, but we'll see. I'm not that fussed either way, to be honest. It's not Saints, so who cares?
No, exactly. I just want it to be like, I just want to be able to sit at home and like enjoy the game as a neutral.
Anyone
but them for me.
Anyone but them will have a t-shirt made up. Anyone.
Yeah, instead of why not us? It'd be like why
not us? Yeah, anyone.
Why them? I think you'd probably sell a few of those shirts around the Northampton area. I think if you got that to
then I'll get on Dragon's Den right
now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think there's much more to cover off. We will be back. Might have a few specials lining up. We'll see how we go with those, but we'll release them if we have. I think we'll have at least one more this season, so we won't say goodbye for the year yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening. I've been Charles. Jess has been Jess. Simon's been Simon. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.